俺にこれまで出させるとは
調子付きやがってボケが
笑わせるだろう。
生意気すぎ内頃やんな校長も校長先
これでどうだ。ラッキー。
まだわからないのかお前の価値がついえたこと
我慢すんかヒート。体力勝負は俺の名前だ。ソニックブリッター。
Mr. Hawk, that's what you want.
Hey everyone, it's CurlyHairedHero and welcome back to some more Prince of Tennis 2005 Crystal Drive. So we're still in the junior selection tournament. We're using here Kamui Akira, or Akira Kamui. I believe Kamui is his last name. Anyways, we're facing off against here Yanagi Renji. We've used Renji before in a previous tournament. I don't remember exactly which one it was. I think it was a national singles tournament, perhaps. Either way, we're up against him today. He's not really too much of a threat, I would say. He's a solid character, I'll say that much. He does have solid stats. His abilities aren't, or his specials aren't exactly the best. They don't really do all that much, aside from maybe his BBB, which is a behind the baseline backhand. I don't think that's the name of it. It just has 3 B's, so I just call it that. That's the only really offensive thing he has. Aside from that, he has, I believe, the 2 sort of data tennis moves. One of them which I think forces the opponent to go into the middle of the court, which I guess isn't horrible. And the other one which makes them always do a lob, which isn't so bad either. You can also seal off the opponent's special, which is great, but it's only active for I think 1 game or 1 point. I'm hoping that it's the former, not the latter, because that's kind of shitty if it's only for 1 point. Because it costs like 3 bars, so that would be really pointless. But yeah, we're still using Kamui here. I'm trying to just pretty much play this out. I tried to do a little bit of research to see how many sort of tournaments are going to be 5 sets, to see if maybe there's a better way for me to go about this, because at the moment, I mean, the only real thing I can think of is, you know, just do what I'm doing, is just keep playing, and then I might later on make it a little bit more cinematic in another season. For example, the whole thing that I was talking about last time, where like I'll do this, and like on changeovers I'll flash over to the what are they called, to the bench, maybe show that off a little bit, but I don't really know if that's really worth it. We'll see what happens. I've actually I haven't played this in a long time, quite honestly, which is ironic. It was similar to tennis. I play this on and off, and I play tennis on and off. I'd like to play tennis consistently, pretty much all the time if I could. It's just, 1, not possible because of the other, you know, the usual stuff that I'm talking about tennis, and 2, because of the weather, and, you know, 3, just me being in general busy. I'm hoping now things are going to be a lot easier in terms of playing tennis, just because I have a lot more money now since I actually have a job. And also, Lone Sword Hero recently got a car, so that's really good, because he's the only one of the only other people that I know that play tennis, or rather that I play tennis with. So at the very least, as I was saying before, it's kind of hard to get to the tennis courts that actually let us play, that don't, you know, expect us to pay $200, and ones that we can kind of play for free. So now that he has, you know, mobility, should be able to get to there a lot easier now. So we'll see what that happens, but probably won't be able to do much of that until the spring. So whatever, we'll see what happens. I've instead tried to sort of continue pursuing my sort of tennis career or whatever. I have this book called Tennis Anatomy by, I have it right in front of me actually, by E. Paul Rotert and Mark S. Kovacs. It's a really nifty book my girlfriend got me quite a while back. Excuse me. But it's just basically, it's just what it sounds like. It's called Tennis Anatomy, and it goes through tennis, very thoroughly in terms of, you know, the body, not so much in terms of like playing or strategy or anything like that, but just in terms of like the muscles that are used for certain techniques. And it has a bunch of different, you know, workouts that you can use for these muscles. It breaks it down, so you know it has an entire chapter dedicated to shoulder, you know, talking about shoulder muscles and also talking about shoulder workouts. You know, there's a bunch of those. What's one of the other chapters? So, you know, there's every single body part from your head to your toe, every major muscle group, I should say, because they don't really cover like your neck or anything like that. Obviously, because that's not something you really work out too often. Or your eyesight, for example, that's pretty important. I hadn't thought of a way of working out eyesight or how important eyesight is to tennis. The only reason I've been thinking about that lately is just because I was reading a lot of Baby Step. I've unfortunately caught up now. So I'm having a lot of trouble. I'm having a lot of trouble. I'm unfortunately unable to keep reading it. But they talk a lot about the main character, Echan, and his sort of main ability above everything else. Maybe not above everything else, but his main ability, aside from, you know, taking notes and his tenacity and his hard working and all that stuff, is the fact that he has extremely good eyesight. So he goes to this sort of tennis camp or center that they have in Florida, which I found out the other day is actually a real thing, which is really dope. But anyways, they have these sort of like, in the manga at least, I don't know in the actual place, but they have this sort of this center that where you go to focus your eyesight and train your eyesight. So for example, they have, I don't know if you've seen this game at like Dave & Buster's, where they have like a wall with like a bunch of buttons on it all over the place, and what you have to do is when any of the buttons light up, you have to smack it with your hand as quickly as possible. You have to go through it as quickly as you can. You know, that kind of stuff. And like, I'm sure there's a lot of other things that sort of fall under that sort of umbrella of training your eyesight, but I never really thought of it all that much. You know, training my I keep mixing my words. My hand-eye coordination, especially since, you know, I play a lot of video games. My hand-eye coordination is, you know, is horrible. It's definitely not as great as it should be. But then again, that's also because I stay away from a lot of intensive video games. I'm just kind of a lazy gamer. So that being said, I've always thought of a way to, you know, pump that up and see if I can train my hand-eye coordination somehow without just, you know, the obvious of just doing the thing. I just want to focus on that, you know. I was always curious about that. Yeah, but that's a completely different tangent. So yeah, the book it just goes over a bunch of different body groups, and then it also talks about rotational strengthening, which is basically, if you haven't noticed, in tennis you do a lot, you rotate a lot. You rotate your hip, your entire body to swing at the racket. Your shoulders, you know, when you serve, you know, whenever you hit, especially, you rotate the fuck out of your shoulders. So that uses a lot of your core and whatnot. So even though there's a section specifically for, you know, your core and your torso, working down that, they also have a section for rotational strengthening, which is really cool, because it's also similarly not something that people specifically think to work on. They just think about, oh, I'll just strengthen, you know, my abs and my legs, and, you know, that'll be fine. But I mean, that's generally fine, but I feel like it's important to focus on certain things. I don't know. I'm trying to get into a deeper point, but I didn't really sort of think of anything before coming into this. I don't want to just have any more verbal diarrhea without it actually being a little bit more structured, so we'll just leave it at that. And, you know, they also have like cool stuff like movement drills, which is cool, and they also go over injuries. Basically feel like I'm reviewing the book right now, but I feel I might as well just talk about it since it's right in front of me and playing for the tennis out the 5-minute drive, so we might as well. Yeah, I've been trying my best to sort of go through that, and then the main thing that I've noticed is that instead of my old sort of habit of forcing myself to go to the gym, be it whatever, 2 times a day, 2 times a week, or 4 times a week, or whatever the hell it was, or working out, you know, 5 times a week, whatever. I found that to be slightly less effective, and find what I'm doing now to be slightly more effective, because what I'm doing now is, like I said, the chapter has a bunch of different body parts. There's more than 7 body parts in the entire book. What I'm trying to get at that is that what I tried to do before was I was trying to like squeeze everything in to, you know, a single weekday, or not a weekday, a single week. I don't know why I added day to that. What's wrong with me? So I try to squeeze everything into a week. So I'll try to, you know, work out my entire body by the end of the week, and then the following week start that over again. The problem is that that's not really necessary. Like, there's no reason for my body to be constrained to this sort of notion of time that only us as humans have sort of made that up, more or less. So what I've just been doing is, well, I've been trying to do it. I'm really lazy, unfortunately. But for example, I've just been going down the book. So I'll do shoulders one day, you know, I'll do arms and wrists the next day, do chest the next day, back the day after that, core and torso after that, you know, legs after that, rotational strengthening after that, and then eventually I'll get to movement drills someday. I'll just do all of that, just do it straight. If I need a rest day in between, I'll take it. I've been taking way too many. And then, you know, at the end of that, I'll probably definitely have a rest day. So I've been trying to just do that, so that rather than trying to think of like, oh, I'll work out, you know, this week, and you know, this and that, and just trying to restrict myself so heavily in terms of like time and set things. Because what'll happen is that, like, I'll wake up on Monday and not want to go to the gym, and be like, oh, I'll just start tomorrow. And then, you know, tomorrow we're like, well, I didn't go Monday, so I'll just start again next week, or, you know, a bunch of variations of that, and that just totally fucks me up. The only times that I managed to like combat that was when I started going to the gym with my girlfriend really early in the morning. So at that point I was kind of forced to, because, you know, I had to do it for someone else, not just me, so I didn't feel as lazy, even though eventually we just got lazy. Ended up just, you know, staying in bed. But aside from that, the other thing I sort of combat that is to just, you know, do it no matter what. That one's a lot harder. So I feel like this way I can do the whole, you know, just do it, but at the same time not, like, this will just make it a lot easier, if you get what I'm saying, because then I don't have to think, I don't have as many excuses. It's kind of like, all right, I'll just go to the gym and I'll work out this body part. I won't have to worry about spending, you know, an hour or like 2 hours, because I'm trying to cram so much into a workout. Instead, I'll spend like, you know, 40 minutes, or I think it's like 50 minutes. I'm not entirely sure how much I spend doing these exercises, because it's definitely shorter than my usual gym days, which were at least like an hour 20 minutes. So it's definitely shorter, and I'm doing it before work. So I gotta be at work at 9 a.m. So you can imagine how early I have to wake up. And it takes me an hour to get to work. So there's that. But the fact that it's shorter also gives me a little bit of motivation to just go and get it over with. And obviously, because it's early in the morning, that's one of the other things I learned. If I do it early in the morning, it's so much easier to get it over with. Like, I would love to do it sometime at night after everything's done. And I can kind of just come home, just relax, and, you know, at that point everything's done. That is extremely difficult for me, because I'll always just be too tired at the end of the day and just decide not to do it, especially given if I'm at work. I won't want to go back out again when I was just out the entire day. So that was really counterintuitive. I mean, the only thing I really liked about that was that this may or may not be sort of factual, but I just felt that, you know, all the crap that I had eaten, or not specifically crap, but everything I had eaten throughout that day, I'll be able to go to the gym and then kind of burn that off. You know, so I get some kind of exercise to use all the calories or the extra stuff that I had taken in that day. I would be able to, you know, put that to use at the end of the day, sort of actively, you know, like going to the gym and whatever, instead of just, you know, recording in my bed. but I don't really know how effective that is. I mean, granted, true, in the morning I can't really do that, but I'm still technically burning off some fat, or you know, I'm still getting the job done just because it's in the mornings. I haven't consumed anything, so my body kind of has to like dig deep into stuff, into my reservoirs, which in turn makes me lose weight. Which isn't so much the goal. I mean, it's always the main goal, not so much just because I want to lose weight or lose more weight, but it's primarily just because, you know, for my health, I need to lose some more pounds. Like, I'm at the point where it's not super dangerous, but I'm still kind of overweight, and to completely reduce any risk, I should be at the very least 10 pounds lighter, or you know, something like that. So it's not really a big hurdle, but I'm hoping to get to 20 to the point where I'm at the sort of lowest possible weight that I can be without being, you know, sick or anything like that. Which I know is going to be really difficult, just given because I have muscle mass on me. So that's why I'm just trying to reduce my fat as low as possible, because that's really what it comes down to. But I know I don't really have that much muscle mass, so I know I can lose like probably 20 pounds just of pure fat. So we'll see how that goes. But that's just mainly what it's been. But then now I'm trying to combine that with sort of my love of tennis, so I figured out build a tennis body by using this tennis book. Even though, I mean, granted, the workouts, some of them aren't exactly too different from what I've been doing already. Some of them, for example, there's like this chest one, which is really weird. So we'll take out, I can never get it to do it right. Maybe I just don't have the right equipment at the gym. But you're supposed to take 2 cables with only the single grip, and then kind of like punch, basically. It's supposed to be sort of like it's a chest exercise, and you're supposed to kind of just punch. And I could never get that one to work at all, so I just kind of did the opposite, where you kind of like pull it together, kind of like bear hug yourself. I've been doing that instead. And like, what else did I do that day? I did an incline bench press. That really, like, the sides and like my shoulders and stuff are really sore, because I've never really ever done that, which is good because I have a really small chest. I feel I used to get a little upset of how small my chest was, especially now that I've lost a good amount of mass. I lost like 26 pounds. I feel like my chest is even smaller because I had a lot of fat there. But either way, there's not really too many things that are completely different, aside from, like, you know, arms and wrists. There's a lot of like wrist and forehand stuff. I mean, I've gone through the entire book before, but in general, that stuff was kind of personalized. And then there's definitely, when it comes to rotational strengthening, that things are really different. Because I remember doing a lot of really weird, random shit that I've never thought of doing in my life. And obviously, the movement drills are kind of specific, because I mean, you don't really move too differently, or sorry, you don't really move too similarly to any other sport. I don't think so. I mean, maybe baseball a tiny bit. Well, not really, not baseball. Yeah, I can't really think of any sport where the movement is sort of the same. But yeah, that's just what I've been up to. I haven't really been playing much tennis lately. You can see here we're actually up a set. This is still, unfortunately, the junior selection, so there's 5 sets that I have to go through. But we're up a set. We're pretty much just walking right through this. I'm hoping that this only has 3 opponents, so that after this I can just go ahead and finish off. But I doubt it. I don't know who the next opponent is. I definitely don't know who the next. Well, no, I remember now. I know who the next opponent is. And it seems like Hugh to be the last character I face, so I'm assuming that that might be it. Just because I'm pretty sure no one watches this to begin with, right? That's fine, because, you know, tennis is niche enough as it is, and then a tennis game is even more niche, and then a tennis video game on YouTube about an anime series is just the nichiest of YouTube audiences that I'm trying to get there, which is fine. But aside from that, I would like it to be kind of watchable for like whatever 2% in the world, or not even. That sounds like a lot of people actually. Whatever, you know, 1 or 0.0 to the like billionth percent of people that actually watch this liked it to be actually kind of, you know, decent. So that's why I'm really worried that these 5-set matches are a little bit too grueling, especially since there's not really too much going on. Because there's not really much else that I can do. Maybe if I had a more dynamic character or someone that had a more special, like maybe if I was using like Echisan or like something like that, something a little bit more exciting. Because Kamari just really has just the running special and then just the standing Sonic Bullet. That's it. It's not really much that I can do about that. I mean, I can try and talk some strategy, but I kind of just do the same sort of strategy in all these games. I've talked about this game before. I think it's called Cross. Let me look it up. It's actually on my phone. It's this phone game. Yeah, Cross Court Tennis 2. It's this app game that I have on my phone, which is a tennis game. It's really fun. It works relatively well. And I've been since playing it, I've been thinking a lot more sort of strategically when I play tennis. So, for example, I've been messing around a little bit with change of pace, which is sort of borrowed from reading / watching a lot of Baby Steps, and that's basically just from all the different types of spins and sort of speeds in tennis. You try to sort of mix that up to throw your opponent off. So, for example, I've seen that at least, very least in this game, I'm gonna try doing it in Prison Tennis next time I get the chance, because I gotta kind of remember the combinations of what swings are which. But like, for example, I can, like, you know, hit a couple of top spins and then hit a slice for my backhand. Like, I'll do a bunch of top spins for my forehand, do a couple slices for my backhands, and then I'll mix it up. Instead of doing, you know, a top slice for my backhand, I'll just go in for a strong forehand top spin to sort of mix things up. That's the general idea. Or, for example, I've noticed that, you know, I can use my instead of constantly, I would just constantly just, you know, try to forehand the crap out of that and, you know, topspin the shit out of it. But now I've been, you know, whenever I'm on the run, obviously, you know, I'll slice the ball so that the ball can slow down. I have a lot more time to get back into position. Or if I'm in a sort of better spot, I can try to slice it out wide when I hit the ball so that it goes out slowly and it curves a little bit to the sort of the offside. So that way it pushes my opponent a little bit farther. But since the ball is so slow, because it's a slice, it allows me to move up close and then finish off the net point. So I've been playing extremely aggressively, and I've been sort of developing into a I want to say a little bit more of a serve and volley than less of an all-rounder, even though an all-rounder kind of does serve and volley, and I do play at the baseline quite a lot, especially naturally for me, as, you know, me in person, because I like running around a lot, and I feel like that's my greatest strength. I feel that I've been doing way more serve and volley than all around, especially because I've been messing around with serves a lot too. Because the thing in this game is that you can sort of hit the ball with really low power, but also slice it and then hit it in a certain direction so that it'll land in the corner perfectly, and then just cut out to always to the left. It'll always cut out to the left, and the opponent usually, like 90% of the time, won't be able to get it in the game, and then it'll just be an ace for you. Otherwise, if you're serving on the other side, you know, you'll hit right down the line, and it'll also go out, and they won't know what to do. Wow, you know, it's a video game. If I were to do that in real life consistently, obviously someone would catch on. So to combat that, I've been kind of mixing up my serve. So, you know, I'll throw one of those sometimes I really need a point. Then I'll throw fast serve sometimes. I'm just messing around with my serve, because before, what I would always do in these games, I always do it in Prince of Tennis also, is I would just serve to the right corner, or rather to the left or right corner, the corner opposite of where I'm serving from and just try to go as deep as possible so that when my opponent tries to hit the ball, they're off the court, you know, as much as possible, and then I can just easily smack it to the other side of the court. And you know, that's an easy one too. That's what I've been trying to do. Pretty much the entirety of this sort of game. I haven't really done it too much in real life because, I like talked about before, I have a lot of problems actually serving. I'm starting to slightly think it's a shoulder thing just because I know I have mild shoulder issues, but it's just something about the serve that's really bothering me. So I'm hoping that it will eventually be the kind of story where the serve becomes my strength, just because I struggled with it so much before. But yeah, in the games where I don't have to worry about sort of my form being as shitty as it is in real life, I've been there's a giant helicopter up ahead, so I'm just gonna wait for that to pass. Right. So yeah, in the game where I don't have to worry about sort of my form or constantly fucking up, I've been just mixing up sort of, you know, my slices and my like strong serve, you know, mixing all that up really well in a way to make it sort of how do I explain this? Yeah, at this point I was just I had to go quickly do something, so he accidentally just went ahead and raped me. Just completely destroyed me this set. Or that game, I should say, not that set. But, yeah. What the hell was I saying? Serve. Yeah, I've been messing around with that sort of different variations. So when I serve, it's kind of different. And then after that, going into that, I'll do the sort of change of pace. So I'll just, you know, try to incorporate that into my game a little bit more. Sounds like I'm just biting off Echan, but it's not necessarily, because it's not necessarily something unique to him. It's just kind of something you gotta do, you know? Like, it'll be like someone saying like, oh, you're copying off this basketball player who learned how to do three-pointers. I'm like, no, that's just an essential part of the game. But yeah, anyways. I've been just trying to sort of mess around with that a little bit, because I can't, obviously, I don't have the capabilities to do that in person at the moment. We've talked variously about that, but it's just, you know, time, and I don't have any real partners to play with, nor do I have a court to play in. So yeah, that's been sort of an issue. But once I actually do get back on the court, I'm hoping to use that pretty effectively, just because like I prided myself, or I guess I kind of still do. I pride myself in being really effective, or I shouldn't say really effective, because I haven't really been able to use it effectively. But I pride myself in being able to put a lot of spin on the ball, because I literally sat down a bunch of times when I was trying to learn tennis. I would literally sit with a tennis ball and, you know, flick my wrist downward to learn how topspin works, and flick my wrist sort of upwards to see how backspin works. And, you know, I would kind of like literally study how the ball bounces and how it travels and all that, and be like, oh, and it get better sense, so that when I'm with, you know, I have racket in hand, I can figure out how to actually do that in game. And I feel like that helped me out substantially when I kind of understand what's going on. It's just in general when I kind of like stop for myself and analyze things and kind of look at it and be like, huh, so that's how that works. So I kind of get a sense of it in my own terms. I feel like that really helps me out a lot whenever I'm trying to learn something, or, you know, anything of the sort. So I did a lot of that. So I've been trying to incorporate that a lot into my game. I used to do that a lot sort of growing up. I was able to do a lot of top spin to the point where like whenever I would practice with like the girls and whatnot, they would complain because the balls would bounce up really high. Because I would, you know, aside from me trying to get it over the net, I would hit it up a little higher than I should have. But then on top of that, I would put a lot of top spin, so it would just bounce up really high. And it's for whatever reason went away from me. I think it's mainly because I've been hitting against the wall and I haven't been on the court as much, so I've been just hitting really flat. Because obviously, if you hit up against the wall, your spin doesn't really matter, honestly, unless it's maybe, you know, some crazy side spin or something like that. So I've just been hitting really flat, and it wasn't until recently that I started again, you know, actually put some top spin into that. And I'll try, in addition to that, do some more, you know, backspin, just because I haven't really had the sort of what's the word? Opportunity to use backspin the last time I was playing, so I haven't really used it all too often. But yeah, so I'm hoping now that sort of I reinvigorated that into my game, that I'll be able to add in this new sort of change of pace of actually using the spins to my advantage, which I've always wanted to do. I just never really knew sort of how to, aside from the obvious, oh, if it's really low, you know, give it some top spins, make it go up. If I want it to be nice and slow, give it some backspin, you know, that kind of stuff. Now, kind of thinking about it a lot more deeply. Anyways, we're trying to break through Renji's serve for the last time, and as you can see, I'm also super aggressive in this game when it comes to the return of serve, because I'm always coming in extremely close on first serve and it's just smacking it right down the line, which I wish is something I could do in real life, because it's so effective in this game. But I was going, oh, I missed that. I got another service ace. He has so many service aces on like bullshit, which is just so silly. But either way, I still have another match point, and I'm just gonna go ahead and finish that off with this. And boom goes the dynamite. Why do I keep saying that? Alright, so yeah, we finally managed to defeat Renji. We used quite a lot of special shots here. We also managed to get a lot of service aces, which was really cool. And I believe, yeah, pretty good amount of return aces as always. So that's great. And that's gonna do it for that. And next time, I think it might actually be the final round. If not, sorry. Stay fresh.
Ha 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 ha!